Talk and Power, your motorsport and motoring radio show. Now on 88.5 FM, The Valley Comes Alive. And podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.
How was your day, sweetie?
Terrible. A deal that I've been working on for weeks fell apart and...
Yep. Sounds like the time the gearbox went in my patrol.
How is that the same, Terry?
If you really love cars, Auto One.
Welcome to episode 104 of the Talk and Power podcast. I'm Nick DeChimber and I'm joined by co-host Todd Brinkworth. Todd, thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks, Nick.
We're back on Zoom.
I know. It feels weird.
It does, doesn't it?
It does, because we kind of had something going and then we went to Zoom and we got used to it and then we got away from Zoom and we're back here again.
We're back here again. Look, for those listeners that are not familiar with what's happened in Western Australia, we had a 5-day full lockdown, and now we're in the, I guess, what is it, an 8-day, 9-day sort of semi-lockdown, where we have to wear masks. If we were together in the studio here, we'd have to all wear masks, and we just thought, you know what, for this week, there'll be another announcement made on the weekend. We thought just for this week, we'll do it on Zoom again. We're catching up with Ross Tapper and David Smith shortly. We'll be speaking with them soon. We thought, you know what, we'll just do it without masks separately. That way we can, it feels a bit more, I don't know. Just wouldn't feel right if we were all wearing masks in here, to be honest.
No, exactly.
So we thought, we'll do that instead. So we're back on Zoom, but hopefully it's only for a short period of time. It's not that there's anything wrong with Zoom, but I actually started enjoying the studio experience, to be honest. I think you did
that's
too.
right.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah. So
anyway, look, I mean, we need to shout out. Firstly, there's a very special volunteer out there that is refueling a portable generator as we speak on site. The transmitter for 88.5 FM, now that's not damaged, thankfully, but the power to it was damaged in the fires that we've just had. So if you're listening to us as a podcast, that's great, but a lot of people listen to us on 88.5 FM Saturday mornings. And to those listeners, you're getting this transmission because there's a volunteer out there that's continually refueling the generator so that the transmission can keep transmitting the signal. So, we'd just like to say our sincere thanks to that volunteer that's doing that job. For community radio, that's we really appreciate that. So big thanks to that person out there that's doing that. We'd also like to, send our sincere thoughts and regards to all those that have lost property and homes and businesses and livelihoods in the fires as well. So, our thoughts go out to all those people. I know a number of people in motorsport have been affected by it as well. So our sincere thoughts go out to those people as well. So, hopefully, it won't be too long till you're back on your feet again. But, our sincere thoughts go out to those people. I had another one here, Todd. It's not in the notes, but I've added it today because I only found out this morning. Australian touring car legend, John Bowe, diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Oh, that's
so
good.
really, quite confronting. But the reason why I put in the notes, obviously John Bowe, legend of Australian touring cars and supercars as well.
Yep.
But it's more about the message for people, for guys my age and older. I'm 45. Really, once you hit that 40 mark, get your prostate checked. Go and get the tests done. It's just a blood test now. It's not the
thing. It's not the doctor from Cannonball.
It's not. That's right. I can't remember his name now. Jeez.
Yeah,
but yes,
anyway.
Comes out of the ambulance with his index finger. But look, we're joking about it. But look, in all seriousness, go out and get yourself checked. Guys that are over 40 years old, really get your prostate checked. John Bowe is a very, very fit young guy still. He's only in his, I think he might have just turned 70. Still very fit, still very active. But, they've detected prostate cancer with him. So our thoughts go out to John Bower and his family. An absolute gentleman. I've met John a number of times, a really nice guy. And our thoughts are with him and his family at this time.
Yeah, I've met. Actually, I got a funny John Bower story. When I was over at the 12 Hour, I think the first time, a couple of years ago, I was walking through the pits and he was just walking along right next to me. And I went, "You're John Bower?" And he goes, "So I am. Who are you?" And then we had a 5 or 10 minute conversation about his racing history and the whole lot. And just such a nice guy. Like, I didn't realize it until, And my mate, Denver, walked past me and went, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm talking to John Bower. What are you doing?" And he was just looked at me stunned. So,
an absolute legend, nice John Bower. A lot of victories in Volvo and Ford Sierras and of course Falcons, and then other cars as well, and a number of open wheelers, and just an absolute gentleman as well. So our thoughts are with him. Todd, we also need to mention we've gentleman that came up to us and talked to us at the Gone But Not Forgotten, our 100th episode, Clint Wall. He's got a big show on at the Georgiana Molloy, I guess you say, Anglican School in the Southwest Indoor Motor Show. Yep. Big event coming up on the 19th, 20th and 21st of March. We're going to be down there on the Saturday, the 20th of March. I'm really looking forward to that. Clint's having us along, so thanks, Clint, for having us down there. We're going to be live and dangerous, I guess. We're going to be doing a whole lot of interviews down there. We're going to have the cameras down there, and we're going to try and get as much content as we can. I'm sure for the day and the night we'll do that. So I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll try and get Clint on. I spoke with Clint yesterday, and we're going to endeavour to get him on the show before the actual show, do a bit of a promotion, and he can talk about what we expect to see there. And look, it just goes to prove, like, Clint was on the cusp of actually cancelling this show, but after motivation, a number of people got on board, and there's going to be some really great cars heading down there. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I know you are as well. You've been to it before, Todd. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I went. I want to say last year, but I get confused. I can't remember if they had it last year. I actually don't think they did. It may have been the year before. Really good show. I was actually impressed. They kind of have and Clint might correct me from hearing this, but when I was there, I found they had sort of an open policy where a lot of people came and went. Like, there was just sort of main area in the school hall or by the basketball courts that had the really nice cars. And there were some really, really nice cars.
Yeah.
But there was lots of people that came and went, like off the lawn, and went for a bit of a drive into town. And I found that really good. In the couple of hours I was there, the entire car park changed almost 3 times.
Yep.
And I found it really interesting. I mean, it was just a really good show. Lots of cars. And again, lots of nice people. Like, everyone, I was walking around, so looking at a few things. And the owner of the car would walk up and sort of be like, "Oh, hey," and I'd be like, "Oh, is this yours?" Happy to chat, where they got it from, what they've done to it. I think I sent you a photo of a John Goss Ford that...
Yes, you did.
That was immaculate, and the guy had it since day dot, and just stuff you don't see. Like, these are the things that are tucked away that might not go to the big shows, but they come out for these little hot rod shows that are needed. Like, these guys love getting the cars out, going for a cruise, and let's be honest, Bustleton, it's an amazing place.
Oh, it's a beautiful part of Western Australia. Beautiful part of the world, really.
Yeah.
So, no, I think you're correct. I think from my understanding, Clint did discuss it with me as well. Like, on the Saturday afternoon, I think at 1 o'clock, the cars will all be leaving and doing the Cape to Cape run. So they're going to be running from Bustleton down to Augusta and then back again on different roads. So we're going to try and have a bit of a camera crew out there, getting some footage of the cars on the cruise as well. And we're going to talk to as many entrants as possible. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a big day. And, head down there on the Friday, the 19th of March, Saturday, the 20th of March, and Sunday, the 21st of March. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think it'll be a great event. I think on that note, we may just take a break. We have got Ross Tapper, David Smith waiting to come on, and we'll have a chat with them in literally a couple of minutes. And we're talking all things Targa Albany Sprint. Looking forward to that. Todd, can you tell us you close to entering, or?
Yeah, I am sending off some messages right now to see if there's still a spot available. And I'm sure Dave will rev me up about it. Just waiting on some parts of the car.
Yeah.
Which has been taking me a lot longer than I thought. And had to bite the bullet basically and just pay the shipping fee, which, to get some bits from Japan. So, But finally, I think it's been 3.5 months of me saying the car's going to be ready, going to be ready. But yeah, a lot closer than I was even a week ago. So,
all right. No, that's good.
Cutting it fine, but hey,
Well, that's your motto.
I know.
All right. Well, look, we'll take a short break here, and we'll be back right after this with Ross Tapper, David Smith, Targa West, and we also need to congratulate Ross Tapper on his Order of Australia medal. What a magnificent achievement. We'll catch up with them right after this. Okay, welcome back to the Talk and Power podcast, and we've got with us some special guests. We've got all the way from Targa West, Ross Tapper and David Smith. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Once again, it's always good to catch up with you guys.
It is. I mean, we are talking with Ross Tapper, who's just recently been awarded the Order of Australia medal. Congratulations on that, Ross. I think it's a really fitting award for you. And look, our congratulations from everyone here at the podcast, from Todd and Simon as well. I spoke with Simon today and he said to pass on his congratulations. You mentioned somewhere I read that the award took you by surprise. Why is that, Ross?
Yeah, to get recognition within your sport's one thing. To get recognition at this level is totally, gobsmacking. Like, it's not someone in the sport saying this person should receive such an award. And now, many people, and it wasn't my friends who were doing it. I know friends were involved in part of it, but there was others involved in, as in when I say friends, my day-to-day friends that you deal with, it was other people involved in as well. But very humbling, a great honour to receive. It's don't know what to say, except it's absolutely amazing to receive an award like that. And that, we all go through our life and you see people far smarter and far more intelligent and doing far more for the community, as in the medical world and engineers and all sorts of people. But to get it for, in my case, running rallies is the way I see my life. But other people see it as a contribution to motorsport, which is terrific.
Well, I think it's a contribution to the community as well. It's not just motorsport, but even the community as well. And especially what you guys do in the community, not just yourself, but David as well, and the whole Targa West team. All your events, as we continually say, are free. So doing that for the community and they're basically community events. We talked in depth about Targa in the Allenbrook and all those regions that you travel to. They're community events where people get together. So I think if you look at the big picture, it's really, for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And there's one of the ladies involved is Jan Stagbar, who's the patron, and she talks about social capital, which is all about that, is bringing people together. And it wasn't just Targa West. I've been running events for 40 years and 30 odd years running the Forest Rally. And John Smales, who was one of the first people to get rallying on TV in a big way through Channel 10, sent me a lovely message, but said, just imagine the amount of tourism that Forest Rally's brought into WA over those 30 years. So it's a lot of big things that, and the rally community have been right behind me. And I say that all, I had no idea what I was doing, but once I put up my hand, everyone got in behind me and helped me and showed me, and it's still going on 40 years later that I say, hey guys, we're going to run an event in Albany, and 20 or 30 people are saying, well, we'll come down and help you put it together. And to this day, it still blows me away what motorsport people are doing.
No, definitely. Ross, tell us a little bit. I know we've spoken in the past, but give us a brief rundown. I mean, you started rallying in 75, I think I'm correct there, but 3 years into the gig, you were organising events. Was that a natural progression to start from rally and then start organising events, or was that out of
I was
desire?
too young to know what I was doing. The reality is, and it's a little bit of a sad story, but my first navigator, because it was mostly navigation events back then, a guy called Peter Roger said that he was going to run the Pathfinder Rally. And he asked me if he didn't ask me, I said I'd help him, love to help him, and thoroughly and utterly enjoyed it. But unfortunately, our good friend Ross McFarlane was killed in that rally. And the WA Car Club then spent months and months and months going around in circles saying, well, who's going to run it the following year? And eventually I just stuck up my hand and said, look, I've got no idea, but I'm not going to let this thing fall over. And another guy said, well, I know Charles Court, who was the Premier of WA at that time. And he got Sir Charles to come along and start the rally. And then he also knew the owners of the entertainment centre, which had only just been open. And before I knew it, within months of not knowing anything, there I am, the event director, standing in front of the entertainment centre with Charles Court starting a rally. And it just took off from there, and I've been running a rally every year since, in one way or another, from state events to Forest Rally and Targas, all the Targas, of course, and helped out over east on a few events over there.
Look, it's amazing. We'll just run through some of your accolades here. It was the WA State Official of the Year in 2015. In that same year, you were inducted to the Australian Rally Hall of Fame, and you're also given lifetime membership of Motorsport Australia, formerly known as CAMS. Can I ask, where does the Order of Australian Medal, where does that sit amongst that lot there?
Way on top of that. Like, to be recognised, as I said before, to be recognised by your peers within your sport is absolutely terrific. But to have a totally independent body who doesn't know me, doesn't know our sport, doesn't know anything about rallying, but recognises that it's what I've done, what we've done as a sport, as you said earlier, as a contribution to the community. It's another level way above all the rest. You love being recognised by your peers, whether it's an Official of the Year or Hall of Fame or the slap on the back. You appreciate that, and but this one's from people who know nothing. All they've done is received written references to say this is what I've done, and they said yes, that's a worthwhile recognition to the community. And when I say to people that, but doctors save lives, I don't, and they say, but you're running something, as you said earlier, there's to contribution to the community, and the community needs all sorts of things. It's not just doctors and engineers and all these other people. It's all sorts of things that makes the community go round and round, and I'm just a small part of that.
Yeah.
One of the things that someone did mention was just especially in the COVID world, just keeping on running events and giving people something to look forward to, how much of an impact that has on people's mental health. Whether it's an official that looks forward to coming out and helping on the event, whether it's a competitor that uses that as a stimulus to get out to work on his car, or a spectator to get out of the house to come down and actually watch one of the events. So as Ross said, it's more than just the tourism, it's more than just the event itself, it's making people feel good.
Yeah, most certainly. And I can vouch for that. I mean, especially, coming out of, I spoke with Todd, I remember last year when we were able to get down to Pemberton for Targa Southwest, how excited people were to get down to Pemby. It's a long trip, but we all enjoyed it, so because it was the first event coming out of that lockdown. That harsh lockdown. So I can certainly vouch for that, and I know people are really looking forward to the Albany event, which we'll talk about now. Actually, I mean, we're moving on to Albany. Can you talk us through the Albany Sprint? It's a little bit of a new look this year. It's going to be 2 days. Reasonably familiar with the hill climb myself. But can you tell us a little bit? Are there, anything changes to the hill climb at all?
No, not really. We'll be putting a bollard on the side of the water barriers to hopefully they'll knock over a light bollard rather than smash into the water barriers on the chicanes. But that's only a bit of fine tuning of what we did last year, because when the competitors hit the water barriers and knock them 20 metres down the road, it's time consuming and hard work to keep putting it back. So or either that or we can ask the drivers to learn to drive. And that the chicanes are there to be driven around, not through the middle of them.
Yeah.
Is that why your name's not on the entry list now, Todd? What's
No. Oh, well, I did actually come home with an orange paint scrape on my rear bumper last year.
Anything behind the rear wheel's a trophy, Todd?
I didn't think I was driving fast enough to warrant that, but hey, and it's not there yet. But we'll talk to you off air about that, because some stuff arrived today, finally, for the car. So not quite overnight from Japan, but let's just say 3 months from Japan.
I actually suggested to Ross that we tell the competitors that there's 3 at random water barriers that are full. Their call as to how close they want to cut it. Just don't tell them which 3. I can
already name 3 names that will try all of them. Like, don't worry about that. So,
dear.
New to the sprint this year in the Albany, the event is the Quarren Sprint. Now, I didn't know much about this region of Albany. It actually served as a quarantine camp back in the early 1900s. Did you guys know that? Were you aware of that?
There's an irony in that, isn't there?
There is.
Coming out of lockdown.
I think it housed people with pandemics in the early 1900s, to be honest.
Yeah, it goes back to the sailing ships. When the sailors were coming down from Europe in a sailing ship, and they would have all these diseases, and ones that weren't healthy, well, they couldn't take them into the. You imagine if a disease like we've got today got into a tiny little settlement like Albany or Fremantle, Swan River way back then, and so that anyone who was too ill to go ashore were putting into Camp Quarren.
Yeah,
it's a really nice place. And just the other bit of trivia talking about that is the Norfolk pines that are down there on Middleton Beach, and you'll notice that they're also on Cottesloe Beach, and I presume Cottesloe is the same reason. They were grown so they could be masts for ships. So if a ship came into Albany and it was missing a mast, they could presumably chop down a tree and make a new one.
Well, there you go. That is a bit of trivia there that I certainly wasn't aware of that.
Down there, we got told that because there's a big controversy in Albany about some of those trees that are starting to get rotten anyway. They've chopped 3 or 4 of them down, which upset quite a few people in Albany. But reality is trees don't live forever, ever.
No.
And when they're in the middle of a car park, they're not getting enough water and enough health. So the safe thing to do is to remove them. That's a bit of trivia. Anyway, so Camp Quarren, if people know in the big harbour, it's right over the other side of the harbour, out on the other point. The story is the city of Albany, when race wars indicated, was a strong rumour, good indication that they weren't going to run, they asked us, well, what can we do to turn our event from a 1-day into a 2-day event, seeing there was not going to be 2 days of race wars. And we said, well, is there any other roads? Well, a friend of ours, Ian French, was living down there, and he came back with this road that goes out to Camp Quarren. And actual competing on it will be really nice. The logistics of going onto a dead end without much turnaround room and not much area to store cars is going to be a challenge for us. But hopefully the enjoyment of driving on that road will make up for that. And we're running it in 2 parts. So there'll be a speed event, which is what most of the guys are doing. In speed events, you don't need the full roll cage and the full safety gear. So we're using, let's say, the slower and the safer part of that road, which is 2.11 kilometres. There's about 60 cars doing that, and there's another close to 30 cars that are going to do a rally sprint. And the rally sprint will be a lot faster in the first 2 kilometres and then use the same 2 Ks of the speed event.
Yeah, okay.
But no, those rally guys, they've got the full roll cage, as in a rally roll cage, which is stronger than a racing roll cage. Slight difference between the two of them. Plus, they've got the Hans device and the proper seats and all the gear. So if they do make a mistake at high speed, they've got the gear to protect them, whereas the speed events can run without a roll cage. So we don't want them going anywhere near the same speed.
Yeah, okay. No, fair enough. That's fair enough. Ross or David, can you tell us any new competitors for this year in the Albany, the event? Anyone new that we haven't heard of before, or anyone making a debut there?
Big father and son, but I'll let Dave do that one.
Peter and Alex Rullo are coming out to play again. I don't know how public knowledge it is, but he's put it on the entry form, so it can't be too private.
Probably now.
Yeah. Turn away if you're listening, Pete. So they're actually, I'm not sure whether I think you guys realised, but they came out to play in Pete's SSC Lotus Exige Targa GT down at the Bunbury Sprint. And Alex did exceptionally well, and so did Pete. I can't remember, Ross. I think the Alex beat the dad, didn't he? I can't remember.
Yeah, Alex beat Peter.
So, which is a pretty good effort, considering that it's pretty much his first time in the car. So they're actually bringing out an interesting toy, a Lamborghini. There is a whole stack of fancy stuff behind the Lamborghini. But basically the main point is that Pete rang up to make sure that the chicanes are actually going to be set up as wide as they are elsewhere, so that they could get it through them. So, because the Lambo is fairly wide, it is a Gallardo, however you say it, but there's actually some fancy history behind it. It's actually one of those GT cars, so it's actually a proper race spec car with big wings and bits and pieces, and there is a European build, etc. So that'll be interesting to see that go up the hill. I don't know whether it'll be ideally suited to it, but it'll certainly be interesting to watch, and I think it'll be pretty bloody quick on the rally sprint at Quarrentup too. So I guess that's probably the main name and the main car. We got a whole stack of other cars from the there's a Datsun 1200 Ute that was out there last year. There's a variety of Escorts, a variety of Porsches, lots of Lotuses, R8 Commodores and classic Porsches and the usual Subarus and Evos. So there's actually a whole suite of cars.
We got last year's winner, Will White, will be there. And I think the year before was won by Matt James Wallace, and I don't think he did last year, but he's coming back this year. So,
and that's an extremely quick car, so that and high horsepower car, so that'll actually be well suited to the climb up the hill. Absolutely. I'm just trying to think. Mark Greenham's coming to play. Pretty much anyone that is of note, I guess, from the rally sprints are all down there. Plus a whole suite of local guys. So there's a whole. Obviously, with the Auto One sponsorship, Ray is coming out to play in his car. Glenn Badger's coming out in his Escort. I hope actually is he entered, Ross? I'm not sure whether he's entered. He's entered. So they're both coming out to play.
Both of them haven't got their cars going yet. So when we're going down on Monday, so we'll do some arm twisting.
Exactly.
But that's good news. I mean, and I know a lot of locals support the event as well. I remember last year I spoke with a number of entrants, and a lot of them were local. So it's great to see that there's a number of cars down that way, and not just Albany, but Mount Barker and Denmark, and even as far as Esperance as well. A lot of people come to Albany to support the event. So that's really great news, and it's good to hear. It's good to hear that we've got some big hitters coming down there as well. I'm sure the crowd will be down there and really looking forward to it. Guys,
it'll be interesting if Phil Morley's entered too, but given that he's been up in Exmouth and he's got to come home via Port Hedland, I don't know whether he'll make it back in time.
Okay, that's going to be a bit of a challenge. That will be a bit of a challenge. Speaking of challenges, guys, I've got a question for you. I know a lot of people will be tuning into this podcast after the 11th. On the 11th, you got a sprint event at the Motorplex. You got a 150 person limit. Can you tell us some of the challenges that you're going to have with the rally sprint at the Motorplex? So basically, no food outlets. People got to wear masks. Basically, 2 people per car. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. So no service crews.
Yeah.
Like we need close to 30 officials. We normally get 35 officials turn up, but we need about 30 officials. So hence we're cutting it back to 65, but we're still sitting just below 60.
Yeah.
Our Bunbury people can't come up, which is a bit of a pity. Some people said, let's run it next week, but that just puts us back onto Albany. And we've been chasing our tail since December when we lost to round two, through the shooting.
Yeah.
We then lost round 3 because of the fire that was down that way. Yes, we've run those events now, but I didn't want to lose another one and just keep putting things off. So everything will be done out of the gate. So normally we'd love to see a crowd. We get heaps of people there. Sorry, this time, unless your name's on the list for a driver, co-driver or official, we'll have to turn you around and say, no, not this time.
Yeah.
It's almost like 2021's basically said to 2020, you thought that was bad. Hold my beer. Watch this. Between floods, fires, and the the lockdown here, it's just been insane.
And a cyclone. Don't forget to add the cyclone.
All of that.
It's been good start.
No, that's fair enough. Look, I mean, and people will understand that anyway. I think everyone will I think people will understand that. Guys, tell us a bit about Targa West this year, September. Plans underway. Everything's looking really good for that date. How are things progressing there?
We'll quickly just backtrack to Albany.
Oh, sorry.
One of the big things that's going to happen through the city of Albany's made this happen is that it's the RAAF's 100th anniversary this year.
Yep.
So there's 4 PC21s, I think they are. We're going to do a fly past and aerobatics. And if we're really, really lucky, we'll get a Hawk jet come down and do a fly past as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
So less than 30 minutes from PS Air Base to Albany. So. But anyway, the PC21s are definitely going to be doing at 12:45 if anyone's going to be down there.
Yep.
Get down to Middleton Beach and there'll be a 15-minute display of routine type stuff, and then the 4th plane will bail out and come back and do some aerobatics. So that will be good to see, and a bit of entertainment separate from those who love their cars. It'll just provide something else for us.
No, that sounds excellent. I wasn't aware of that. So that's another gem in this podcast. So we've got a couple of gems to release on this one.
Yeah.
So just getting back to Targa West, we're all on track then. That's looking good for this year as well.
Yeah. Like we haven't done much on Targa West except pretty well agree that it'll be the same course. We have to change the 2J, or what we called them last year was 2J and harvester stages. We need to reverse them back to the way they were, in that Gyro 2J put down brand new bitumen where the start line was. Well, we didn't increase its length of life for that piece of bitumen, so they've asked us to go back and start the other way and finish on their new bitumen rather than start.
Yeah, okay.
The cars are slowing down rather than accelerating. Otherwise, we're looking to do pretty much the same. If we can squeeze it in time-wise, one of the competitors asked us to do 3 runs at Wanneroo Raceway, which is very similar to their point-to-point. Otherwise, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed that the world will sort itself out between now and September.
Look, I'm sure it will, and we're certainly looking forward to it. I know it's a big event on the West Australian calendar for motorsport, and we're certainly looking forward to that, and also this Albany Sprint as well. So we can find information on the Albany Sprint. It's www.targaalbanysprint.com.au. And for more information on Targa West, www.targawest.com.au. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's correct, I believe.
Yep. And the other one is Targa Southwest, which is all that again, targasouthwest.com.au, which is 3 weeks after Albany. So at the moment, we're running a rally sprint this week, then Albany, which is effectively 2 or 3 events, and then Targa Southwest 3 weeks after that. And then the WA Car Club, which I'm a key part of, is moving on to the Forest Wall. So Targa West has then got a rally sprint on the 8th of April back at the Motorplex. And then some of us are helping put the Forest Rally together, which will be an Australian Rally Championship.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
It'll be great to see the new Yaris's that Bates Motorsport will be bringing over. And there's some nice cars coming over and coming over for that, let alone.
So the other thing we got to talk about is need to thank Ray and Desiree for their support of the Targa Albany Sprint. Auto One have come on this year. Auto One Albany have come on this year as as one of our main sponsors for that event. So they've been doing some good work with us on some artwork and posters and bits and pieces and offering us some good support. So that's handy to join the Albany and obviously making history in Shannon's as well. So they've come on as I guess the, in inverted commas, naming rights sponsor. So it's the Auto One Targa Albany Sprint.
Auto One, I'll give them a plug. I'll do it as well. Last year I needed to get a jack to fit underneath the Evo. I went in there and they straight away, yep, you're part of Race Wars, yep, you're doing the hill climb, bit of a discount, sorted me out some other spare parts, had a look at the car, took a photo. Friendliest bunch of guys I've ever met in my entire life. And it's why, I shop at Auto One everywhere now because, they're car people and it's great to see. So
I don't know why we paid someone to do a radio ad. We could have just snipped that out and
Well, it's funny you should say that because, Auto One is also the sponsor for the Talking Power podcast too. So we really, Auto One, that's the key is exactly what Todd just said. They are car people. And, Todd, David and I went back later that afternoon, Todd, as well. I don't know if you recall, we got some more bits and pieces as well. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember anyway. It was for you, but we had to get some more bits and pieces. And they're great guys, really helpful down there, particularly the one in Albany. But I think all Auto Ones right across the nation are great people, and they are certainly help us out. That's for sure.
They're going to have a little marquee set up at both Sunday and Monday with the typical stuff that rally people forget to bring, their race tape or the cable ties or the, I don't know, whatever
ability.
else. Maybe a jack.
I was going to say that, but I'm the one that forgot a jack last year, so I can't say much. I
was going to say, Todd, I can't believe you forgot the jack, but anyway.
Hey, it's my pride of place now. It's actually a really good jack.
It was.
Profile.
It's magnificent.
It has its own little carry case. It pride of place. It lives in the house. It's that privileged.
It'd be a shame for you not to enter this year then, wouldn't it? Given that the jack, it'll be going home to its...
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Just saying.
I know.
Oh, great. Look, that sounds really good, guys. And as I said, targaalbanysprint.com.au and targawest.com.au and all your different associated websites. Head to them, check it out. Just to repeat myself, all your events are free to spectate. It's really great. I know the Albany one, I've been to it a couple of times now, the hill climb. It's a great day out. We really enjoy ourselves down there. And we're looking forward to it again this year.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Can I actually put Ross in the... When I sent him a message the day that the OAM was announced, and I said, mate, you're in esteemed company because Toby Price has got one as well. What was your comment? What was your reply, Ross?
I didn't have to break any bones to win mine.
Toby put his comment up from his hospital bed in South America, wherever he is, about winning the OAM. Ross said, well, I didn't have to break any bones to get mine.
But all seriousness, Ross, look, congratulations to you and Jan as well. And David is you as well, and the team at Targa West, all the volunteers. Congratulations on that award. It is very fitting that you should win that. And for me, it was a no-brainer. And congratulations from all of us here, all of our listeners as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've only been around for a few years. Jans is the one that's been propping him up for the last 40 years.
I've only been around 35, 36 years.
Sorry, what was that? You
But
broke
you know,
up.
I've got some good friends who, from the first 12 months of joining the car club, that I'm still good friends with, and that's, to me, it's all about the friendship. It's to say, yes, I enjoy good driving and nice cars, but it's the friendship that keeps you going. Many challenges, but it's really, when you run a rally and you get 450 people come out and help you put it together, it just blows you away. Right?
Yeah.
And so
and I
I say to
honestly
people
believe
that
that's
all the years.
Sorry, I honestly believe that's the difference between rallying with that gravel and tarmac and a lot of other sports, is just that camaraderie and friendship and willing to chip in and help each other out. And they're not competing for the same bit of tarmac. And I think that sort of goes a long way to that. Whether it's officials or competitors, they're all just in there out having a good time.
Yep. Most
20
certainly.
years. I drive from Bustleton over to Nannup at 7 o'clock in the morning as it's freezing cold and there's fog everywhere, and it comes over the radio that there's a convoy of officials heading into the forest, and you know that they've been up since 5 o'clock or 4:30 and met on an intersection in the middle of nowhere that's got nothing to define it. It's 20k from the nearest town. And they're all arrived and all heading into the forest, and it just gives you a lump in the throat every time that happens. And you just think what great people there are, that they just won't let the sport down. Once people have committed to come on, 99.99% of them will turn up and make sure the rally goes ahead.
Yeah.
And from time to time, these things don't work as we should, but everyone gets in behind it and fixes the problem, and we move on.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Well, look, guys, thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming on the podcast once again. Sorry I had to do it over Zoom, but this strange 2 weeks that we're having in Western Australia, it was really no other choice to do it over Zoom, but we really appreciate your time once again, Ross, and congratulations. And David, thanks for coming on. And thanks for everything you do for us as well. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
No problem, guys. Thank you.
All right. Take care. See you.
Bye.
So, everyone, the big news is we're pregnant.
And the other big news is I'm upgrading the brakes on my Mustang.
If you really love cars, Auto One.
All right, that was David Smith and Ross Tapper from Targa West. It was great to have them on once again. It's really nice to have those guys on, and once again, congratulations to Ross Tapper. Motivation, Todd. I went down Motivation 35. A whole new look to Motivation this year. It was a bit of it was a pretty wholesome change to the whole event. So I thought I would just give a review. We got a couple of interviews from down there as well. We caught up with the guys, Colin Byrne from the King Cruiser, and also Bam from from the Perth Street Machine Car Club, or Perth City Street Machine Car Club. So, yeah, it was really good to get down to Motivation. Quite different this year. So they moved the Elite Pavilion right over to the other side on the grass, a little bit cooler. Still put the fake for floating flooring on there as well. It was really good. And I found it a lot more pleasant in that tent, to be honest with you. So I found it quite good. I don't know. We were hoping to have Simon on tonight as well, because I know he did a number of converters for different customers there, but he wasn't able to make it on tonight. But yeah, look, I mean, overall, it's run by Summer Nats now. The Summer Nats crew have run this event, and I think they did a magnificent job this year. We've taken over the event, and looking forward to next year. I know there was good attendance down there, and a lot of people turned out. So no, it was great to be down there. Did you get down there at all, Todd? At all? Motivation?
No, a bit of a funny story. I went to go down there Saturday, and there was some fires on, bushfires and stuff like that going on.
Yep.
And I couldn't quite get there. I actually ended up at the service station behind Motivation at about 8 o'clock, but decided not to go in, even though the burnouts were on. And then on Sunday, I drove past the event because I had to go to Harvey for the day.
Oh, okay.
The freeway was shut, so I ended up coming home down Rockingham Road. So, again, if I had timed it slightly better, I should have just pulled into the car park and gone and seen Motivation. I did hear good things about it. A couple of good friends of mine said they've done it a bit better this year, and hopefully, back to strength, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it was a really good event, and there was a fire pretty close by, and I must be honest, there was one stage there was a fair bit of ash blowing over the Motorplex, but credit to the fireys as well, kept that one at bay. I think a couple of houses may have been. I don't think they were houses. I think they might have been just sheds, but they kept the damage to a minimum on that one there. So, and look, I mean, prior to that, I wrote an article on our website. If you go to www.talkandpower.com.au, you'll see an article on motivation. Leading up to that event, they actually had a fire right at the track that came right up to the wall of the track. So, it's been some challenging times for motorsport, and in particular the Motorplex. Look, we're not going to talk about what happened at the Motorplex late last year. It's been well documented, but you had that plus the fire and plus this shutdown COVID. It's actually put back a drag event one day as well. I mean, that's in the big scheme of things, that's no big deal, but still it's still difficult for the administration of the track to manage as well. So I think they're doing a magnificent job, and it hasn't been easy. Well. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Andrew running Evolve facility management running the track now.
Lots thrown at them in their first few months of ownership, organisational and logistics, shall we say, of running of the track.
Yeah, that's right.
They've had a lot thrown at them. So yeah. Most
certainly. Hey, Todd, we Sunset at Herne Hill, big event. It was a bit of a surprise. I mean, we're going back a little bit here, but we haven't really had a chance to talk about these events. I know Motivation was right at the start of the year. Sunset at Herne Hill was right at the start of the year. Did that with a radio station. But, geez, that's a little it's a reasonably large show, but bit of a secret, that one out there in Herne Hill. And I must be honest, they've asked us to go back, and I'm really looking forward to next year. Great event. I really enjoyed the setup. I mean, it started sort of, a bit later in the afternoon, and then by 7:30, 8 o'clock, once the sun goes down, that's it. It's all over, and you can go home. You still got time to do stuff at night time as well. So I really enjoyed the event, and the variety of cars was just a lot of cars I'd never seen before, to be honest. If you go to our website, talkandpower.com.au, you can see all the photos from the event there. And, I'd like to thank Midnight Bob and Jono for helping out as well. They were playing the music for the evening. That was a really, really good event. I really enjoyed it. Don't know if you saw some of the photos there, Todd?
Yeah, I did actually. I meant to make it out there, and something got me sidetracked, unfortunately. But I saw you had a good time, Nick, and I heard a bit on the radio actually. So tuned into 88.5 Ellenbrook FM, and it sounds like you guys had a really good afternoon. So I can't actually wait to go back out there.
Thoroughly enjoyed
shows that are good to get to. So
yeah, those community-based shows, like we keep talking about community events, but that's a real a community-based show, and it was a real good one, that one.
Yeah.
I don't know, Todd, if I've actually told you, but I may not have mentioned this to you yet, but my old XW was used in a movie.
No, you haven't.
Yeah. So I was asked at that Sunset at Herne Hill, a couple of uni students came over and said, we're shooting a movie, and would you be interested in if we could use your car as a police car? So I've got some actual photos here to share with you. Check this out. There you go.
Look at that.
Looks legit.
Yeah, it does. Did you keep the light or what?
Yeah, so the lights were working as well. So that was look, I mean, they provided the sticker and the beacon there. So no, it was pretty cool. Here's another shot as well. This is the final scene basically. So you can see that's this guy's come a cropper over here.
Oh, nice. Well, not necessarily the Falcon, but hey.
What you wouldn't believe it. See this fence here? I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you see this fence here? The people that live in here, they're actually related to the producer, the director of the, and they said they're going to pull this fence down. So they thought it was an opportune time. The front of the fence is all smashed up, but it was smashed up by hand. It's not the car didn't drive into it. It looks like the car's driven into it, but they broke up the fence for him just to give it a bit of authenticity. So, look, these guys, it was. I reckon I was in the movie, probably 17, maybe 18 seconds, and I was there for 5.5 hours.
Wow.
That's
filming for you, though.
Yeah, it is. So. It is. And it's a bit not completely new to me, but it was, for that, I reckon probably 20 seconds at the very most. The car's in it for. There's 3 scenes where it's driving past, and there's some kids moving a dead body, and I'm driving past in the background. And then another shot, there's a kid running, and he runs up the street, and I'm at the end of the street. And then the final scene where you see there, the car pulls up, that guy's crashed, and 2 police officers get out of my car. It's set in the 70s, the movie, and they walk up and arrest the gentleman there. And that took 5.5 hours. So
there you go.
But a good experience. And the movie's called The Night of the Huntsman. So when that's out, it's just a short movie. It's only 6-minute, only a 6-minute movie. And when it's out, I'll share it on our Facebook page and also on our website. That way you can see the movie. There was a couple of old cars using it. It was a HQ Ute that was there earlier in the day, and also that XC GXL Falcon. Lloyd, who's a really nice guy. I got to know him really well. And, we really enjoyed ourselves. It was quite as I said, never done it before. And, it was a bit of an experience. I don't know. Have you had much to do with movies, Todd?
A little bit. Again, Simon.
Yeah, Gonz is the man, yeah.
A couple of times, he was doing... I didn't realise at the time. Again, probably shows how young I am. But anyway, he was doing stuff with films back in the day, and now I'm like, oh, hang on, that's what he was doing that day, So
yeah, well, he did a lot with Fat Pizza as well. So he's well versed in this sort of stuff.
It is on YouTube, and I'm going to plug it, Simon. I know you sometimes don't like me doing it. There's a film, and it is, I think it's called Towie or something, or it's about towing.
Oh yes, yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to try and find the title right now.
He entered that in a short movie festival, didn't he?
And the amount of my friends I've shown that to, and they're like, "Hang on, I know him." And it's quite hilarious, But you know what? I'll link it on the website. I'll put a link up on our Allfast. From Allfast, but the Talking Power website. Yeah. Otherwise, I've got it saved somewhere. If it's been taken off YouTube, I've got it saved. I know I do.
He's always enjoyed that sort of stuff. He really loves it. To be honest, he really, really loves that stuff. So, good on him. Good on him.
So, while we're talking about filming and all that, my auntie, a relative of mine, who isn't really a car person, informed me on the day that ABC has a TV show called Backroads.
Okay.
And they went to, and I'm going to try and get the name right here, basically where they filmed all the country scenes of Running on Empty.
Oh, okay.
And she went there for the annual show that they have there with all the Running on Empty cars.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Was it
Kubar? Something like that.
Thank you, Kobar.
Yep. Kobar, yeah.
Again, actually, our friends at Street Machine, they built a Chrysler and took it out there a couple of years ago.
Yep.
But, I haven't actually seen it all yet. I started watching it the night, but, so ABC Backroads. You can watch it on ABC iView. I shouldn't be plugging... Actually, no, I can plug the ABC. They're still technically...
Yeah.
Technically. And it's well worth the watch.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
ABC Backroads. So, I'll get onto that and have a look at that. There's some really good content on TV at the moment. There's really some good stuff. So,
yeah.
Hey, we'll take a break there and we'll be back with more in what's happening in the V8 supercar world, what's happening in Formula One, and what's happening in MotoGP right after this. All right, welcome back to the Talk and Power podcast, episode 104. They're really starting to come along now, aren't they, the episodes? It just seems like every 2 weeks we are pumping one out every 2 weeks, but it comes along really, really quick. Hey, look, there's a bit of a shake-up, not a big shake-up, wasn't overly big, but a bit of a shake-up in the supercar world. I wanted to know what your thoughts were. I wanted to know what you think of Davey Reynolds, his shift to Kelly Racing. He had a 10-year contract at Erebus. He saw out 1 year, or maybe two. I can't remember, 1 or 2 years out of a 10-year
it wasn't
contract.
actually 3.
Okay,
Or
3.
Anyway, firstly, we can talk about V8s tonight because, supercars, because Simon's not here.
Yep. No.
I think I sent you a message, Nick. I jokingly said to you, why don't they just shift the whole Erebus team to Kelly Racing? But I think good on Davey Reynolds. Erebus, look, again, there was a special on YouTube that showed that team how good they can be, but how self-destructive they can be. And I don't know about anyone else, but that documentary opened my eyes to essentially a privateer team when you look at it some ways. Dave's got the talent, didn't quite have the engineer for the car, I believe, sometimes.
Yep.
So I guess moving to Kelly Racing is... Like, Kelly Racing this year, I think, will go from strength to strength. Like, they've,
Well, they got a new ownership there as well. So the Grove family have bought into that team as well. Not completely, but they've bought a fair portion of it.
And, not that I'm in knee deep and everybody involved in that supercars. From what I've heard from some people that know the supercar team owners, they are a bit worried this year about Kelly Racing. They think that it might be a threat. So,
well, that's a good thing for the sport.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Long story short, good on him. I'd still love to see his former teammate what he can do this year because that guy's got a lot of talent, and it should make it interesting. Look, hopefully more to come and make it interesting again. Like it's interesting, but make it interesting again.
Yeah.
So.
And look, speaking of changes as well over at Triple Eight, we've just heard recently that, we've got a bit of a shake-up there. So Roland is standing down in 2022 and Jamie Whincup will become team principal and managing director of the Triple Eight team. As we know, Jamie has a percentage share of the business. It's not a majority, but Roland is stepping down. And also Tony Quinn has bought into the team as well. Yeah. Now, Tony's purchase was not Roland Dane's shares. It was Paul Dumbrell and someone else whose name escapes me, someone Miles. I can't remember their surname, their first name. They've purchased, Tony Quinn has purchased their shares. So Tony Quinn is now, for those of you that don't know Tony Quinn, VIP Pet Foods and also Darryl Lee Chocolatier. He owns those businesses or has owned those businesses in the past. Tony Quinn came to Western Australia, I think, in the 80s, very early 80s. He was a sign manufacturer and came here he was a very successful sign manufacturer in the UK, sold his business over there because the mining boom was taking off in the 80s and he was led to believe that the signs would be required here in Western Australia. That was true, but most of the sign business was tied up in existing vendors here in Western Australia. So he stayed here, mowed lawns of all things, and then moved to Queensland and then started VIP Pet Foods and hasn't looked back ever since. And been very instrumental in motorsport over the years, especially in the 2000s. We see VIP Pet Food everywhere. And then he bought Darryl Lee Chocolatier as well. So, he'll bring something different to the sport. But mind you, that team of all teams have got some pretty smart guys running it to start with. Roland Dane, what can we say? I know. We sort of not bag the guy, but we don't speak. I know he frustrates me no end, but everything he says is basically true. Just because he's representing the Holden flag, it's why it frustrates me. But he's great, very intelligent businessman. And I think that team is really going to go from strength to strength. They're already up there. They're going to get even stronger as well now. And Jamie Whincup next year as well, standing down and running the team as well. Big challenge for him. But with Roland standing in the background and Tony Quinn as well, I can't see too much going wrong, to be honest.
Yeah, that's right. How do you think Jamie will hold up running the team or trying to be a team boss?
Well, that's going to be probably his biggest challenge, because you can't be a driver can be mates with the rest of the crew, the engineers. He can. That's fine. But an owner or the team principal and managing director, can't. But it's very difficult to be mates, and you can be mates to a certain extent. But I think that's a big challenge for him. I think that's going to be a huge challenge. But as I keep saying, he's got Roland sitting in the background. He's got Tony Quinn sitting in the background. Very smart team. Don't think they're going to put a foot wrong, to be honest with you.
Yeah, just make sure Jamie keeps his jerry can during at all times. You're fine.
So I'm looking forward to that in 2022, and this will be his swan song year as well. And look, I mean, I think he's still credentialed, Jamie Whincup. I always thought that about him. I don't, and I still think he is very credentialed. It's interesting as well. Triple Eight have announced that they're stepping up their involvement in GT racing. We know that GT racing in Australia this year's taken on some new ownership as well. So the Fanatec GT World Challenge in Australia, Triple Eight have committed to 5 of the 6 rounds, which is fantastic. There will be Shane Van Gisbergen and the Highness Prince. Jeffrey Ibrahim, he'll be racing as well. They've got an AMG GT3 Evo, beautiful car. This is a collaboration with Jonah Motorsport and Triple Eight. So I think, I know Roland's stepping down, but I think his focus will be on probably this, and maybe he sees a bigger future for GT racing. What do you think, Todd?
I think people like myself, I'd love to watch more GT racing, to be honest.
Yep.
The diehard Australian still wants to see your Holden or Ford going in circles. But
do you think so?
The
diehards have maybe moved on. I actually think that you'll find that the GT category will grow in strength out of the sheer. I think the demographics changing in motorsport, and I think the GT, it certainly appeals to me, and I know it appeals to a number of people. I actually think that it's going to get stronger.
Well, I hope so, because I enjoy watching it. I mean, personally, I think they should just, this is the last year of supercars, and then put a freeze on it for a year or so and run historic touring cars. But I mean the Perkin and Brock era VN, VS Commodores, same Falcons, run those. Because they were still a tube frame chassis, but they still ran primarily body panels.
Yep.
And they were more fun to watch.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, side note, been watching Jack Perkins do some stuff on YouTube about restoring all the old cars lately.
Oh, it's magnificent, isn't it?
And
that's
brilliant.
really great.
I must admit, I mean, I remember watching that on TV when I was really young, and it wants me to see them out there again. I'm like, I'd rather watch that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'd rather watch those old things go around and, they were big, heavy, ugly cars, so to speak.
But not only that, Jack presents so well as well.
Yeah.
I think he's lost. I mean, I understand he's doing that for his father's business as well. But I think we need to see Jack Perkins in the sport, more involved in the sport as well. I'd like to see more of Jack Perkins. He presents that series so well, and that is a magnificent job they're doing with those Commodores. That is an absolutely magnificent job, because those Commodores, even though Larry had sold those cars back in the 90s. He's purchased them again, but they have changed significantly since 1990s. I think he relinquished them in the late 90s.
Yeah.
You think about that 20 years later, a lot of people probably thought the car hasn't changed much. When they talk about some of the changes that have been made, I mean, they're having to find old VP and VR Commodores and cut metal out of them to put them back into these cars, because those cars have had some really big, significant changes done to them.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, no, that's a great series. You should, get onto that. I actually quite enjoy that. I watch that a fair bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I mean, it's going to be an interesting year. Barbagallo is the week before Targa West as well. So that's in, I think, early September as well. So hopefully that event goes ahead. I mean, we don't know. It's still early days now. September, a lot can change between now and then. Yeah, but hopefully they're able to get over here and we can have another Perth round. We're really looking forward to that because we missed last year. And, kicking off, as you said to me on the phone the other day, kicking off late in February with the Bathurst 500. I'm looking forward to that as well. The calendar looks a lot more logical. People that are probably listening probably want to know what I mean by that. If you look at the calendar, there's a lot more logic to it. They're basically giving themselves enough gaps in between each round for the teams to get back. Quarantine, I'm not saying they do, but I'm not saying they will, but they can quarantine if they need to, and then they can get back and get to the next track as well. There just seems to be a lot more logical this year, and everything's in a completely different order. I know Perth has always been in May. This year it's in September. But I think when I looked at the calendar myself, it just made a hell of a lot more sense.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we'll take a short break here, and we'll be back. We'll close the show with Formula One and MotoGP right after this. Talking Power Podcast, episode 104. We had Ross Tapper and David Smith on earlier. Great to catch up with them. We've got Todd Brinkworth here. Simon couldn't make it for this podcast. So anyway, it's just the two of us, Todd and myself. Hey, Todd, Formula One. Hey, big bit of a shake-up in Formula One. There always is a bit of a shake-up, isn't there, in Formula One? It's one of those...
Well, the silly season, they always call it.
Yeah, it normally happens earlier. But anyway, the silly season's kind of dragged on a bit. But I think everyone's locked in now. It's all done and dusted. Mercedes, no change. Alfa Romeo, no change. Williams, no change. So we've got George Russell and Nicholas Latifi at Williams. At Alfa Romeo, Antonio Giovinazzi and Kimi Räikkönen there at Alfa. They haven't gone anywhere. And of course, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas at Mercedes. So no changes there. But everywhere else has been changes. I want to go through them here. Red Bull, Perez is replacing Alex Albon. And I've got right here, will this push Verstappen to be even better? I think it will. I think having Sergio Perez will challenge Max Verstappen, but I think that'll bring the best out of Max. I don't think we'll see Max falter. I think it'll bring the best out of him. I have to be honest with you, Alex Albon, I really rated the guy, but yeah, he just did not. He did not challenge. He should have been, what they call the wingman for Max Verstappen. He just failed to do that. And Mercedes were able to do their own strategy because they didn't have to block for two cars. Yeah. And that's the thing. He needed to challenge Valtteri, Alex. But I think Sergio will not just challenge Max Verstappen. I think he'll challenge Valtteri Bottas or Lewis Hamilton, whoever's on the same strategy as him, if that makes sense. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm not a big Sergio fan. I don't really like his style of racing. I've seen him do things to Esteban Ocon that I didn't like it myself. But all that aside, this is motor racing. At the end of the day, they don't care what I think. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Sergio really push Max and Valtteri as well. McLaren, so Sainz is off to Ferrari, as we know. Daniel Ricciardo's in there to replace him. I've written here with Lando there. I think Daniel will have his work cut out for him. I think Daniel had it pretty easy last year with Esteban Ocon there. Esteban had spent a year or two out of the sport because he lost his ride. He came back, and I think Esteban was a little bit green, but I still rate Esteban Ocon. But I think Lando is pretty hot in that McLaren, and I think he will push Daniel pretty hard in that car. So,
which might be needed.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah.
I agree. I think Daniel needs someone there to challenge him, and I really rate Lando Norris. I really do. I think he's a great talent. Also rate George Russell too, but we'll talk about him a bit later. Aston Martin Racing, formerly known as Racing Point. So Vettel replaces Perez, Stroll remains. What do you think of that? Vettel replacing Perez there. I'm not sold. I'm not sold on that one.
Just don't mention the war. It's fine.
Okay.
Look, everyone knows I have a lot of regard for Vettel. He didn't really shine last year. I think he's an underrated driver and still has something to show a lot of people in him.
Yep.
So you won't hear a bad word out of my mouth about Vettel until he's on the side of the road throwing a helmet at somebody. But hey, So hopefully on to better things. I'm disappointed he didn't quite make the impression at Ferrari that he could have. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I think again though, we'll see. Maybe he'll take the challenge and bring Stroll up to his level, or maybe he'll just fade away. We don't know.
Yeah. So, I don't think there's a challenge in Stroll. That I don't think. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think there is. I'm just not sold on that team there. The only one I rate in that team is actually the father, Lawrence. I really do. I think Lawrence has got it going on, but I'm not convinced that Vettel and Stroll together will bring the best out of that team. But hopefully I'm proven wrong. Now, Renault as well. They're not going to be known as Renault anymore. They're going to be known as their Alpine, their race team, I guess you'd call it, their race brand, Alpine. Looking forward to that. Guess my favorite, one of my favorites, Fernandes, I call him. Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
He's back. He's back, and I cannot wait to see him in this car. Cannot wait to see Fernando Alonso back, and Esteban Ocon, he remains there as well. So I think Fernando Alonso will certainly get the best out of Esteban Ocon as well. I rate both those guys quite highly. So it's good to see him back. Ferrari, Carlos Sainz replaces Vettel, and Leclerc remains. Don't know what's going to happen there. Not much, I don't think. Matteo's already come out this week and said he doesn't expect much from his cars this year. So I mean that. The messaging already from the get-go. I don't know. You can look at that two ways. Maybe he's playing things down. Maybe they've found a bit of extra horsepower. I don't know. But he's already come out and said that, they're not looking that great for this year, which surprises me somewhat. AlphaTauri, Danny Kvyat is out, replaced by, correct me if I couldn't say this wrong, Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yep.
Tsunoda, yeah.
Yep, Yuki Tsunoda. So Danny Kvyat's out, replaced by Yuki Tsunoda, a Formula Japanese F4 champion and a Red Bull Junior Academy member as well. Pierre Gasly to remain. Glad that Pierre's still hanging around. Unfortunately, Danny did well there, but unfortunately, I think, got to replace him with new talent. Haas. Now, this is the one I wanted to talk about. Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean are replaced by Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Now, Mick Schumacher doesn't need any introductions, son of Michael Schumacher, and Mick, won championships in the lower categories. I really cannot wait to see Mick Schumacher in a Formula One car.
Yeah.
Nikita Mazepin, interesting story. I don't know if you know much about this guy.
No, I'm looking at the name, and I must admit, I think every other name on the list I know. This one I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, type his name in and then go Instagram. He late last year posted an inappropriate video on Instagram. I'm not here to judge. His video is inappropriate to say the least. And I mean, a number of sponsors pulled out of Haas. Jack Jones, the clothing label, pulled out. The video is not great. And as I said, I'm not here to judge. If you want to do that, that's fine. But I think putting it on social media, I don't know. I think Gunther Steiner has his work cut out for him. You're looking for the video, are you?
I just, yeah. Anyway, we're done. Anyway, keep going. I'm listening. No.
Anyway, look, I mean, as I said, I'm not going to go into detail of the. I can if you want me to.
No, you
But
don't need to.
Yeah, it's an inappropriate video of him, and I think for a Formula One driver, not a great look. But if
No.
you know what, everyone makes a mistake as well. I'm also the belief that everyone makes a mistake. If that's his mistake, let's cross that one off and we move on with him. But I think Gunther Steiner has his work cut out for this with this guy. Hopefully, Gunther can get the best out of him. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. And George Russell still at Williams and Nicholas Latifi as well. There's no change there. So I think, I'm really looking forward to this season. That said, for a good season, we're going to need some challenges from McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari. I've almost put a line through already. I just don't think the challenge is going to come from them. And we're also going to need Racing Point, Aston Martin Racing, really to step it up. Look, with Vettel there, perhaps, I hope I'm proven wrong. I'm just not convinced he's the answer there. But perhaps I'm wrong. But the challenges really do need to come from Red Bull. They really need to come from McLaren. And they really need to come from Aston Martin as well. Because, as I said, it's not going to... Ferrari, I don't believe, will mount a challenge. I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. What do you think? What are you thinking, Todd?
No, I think this isn't going to be their year, Ferrari.
Yep.
Unfortunately. Yeah. That's just my 2 cents. So,
yeah. Anyway, never mind. While we're at it, we'll just talk MotoGP as well. I'm not sure if Suzuki will repeat their efforts of 2020. Marc Marquez is back with Pol Espargaro on the Repsol Honda. Ducati, I'm really excited about this. Jack Miller has been elevated to the Ducati team, and Frank Bagnaia as well will be in the Francesco, sorry, I should say, and the Ducati team as well. Monster Energy, I have big raps on this guy. I keep talking about him every week. We do a podcast, Fabio Quartararo.
Mm-hmm.
He's replacing Valentino Rossi there and Maverick Vinales as well. Hopefully Yamaha get their stuff together. Suzuki, Alex Rins and Johan Mir. Red Bull, KTM, that is, Brad Binder and Miguel Oliveira. Aprilia Racing, Alex Espargaro and Lorenzo Savadori, or Bradley Smith, they're saying that one is not yet finalised. The Petronas Yamaha, really interesting. Valentino Rossi and Franco Morbidelli. We already knew that, though. I mean, they spoke about that last year, that they were going to do the switch, Valentino Rossi. So, hopefully Valentino can still offer some input to the team as well on what's happening on the Petronas. Sometimes we saw these Petrona Yamahas actually fit faster than the factory Yamahas. So, it'd be really interesting to see what happens there. LCR Honda, Alex Marquez and Takao Nakagami as well. Interesting to see what happens there. Carl Crutchlow standing down. And Prema Racing, Johan Zarco and Jorge Martin. Some tongue twisters there anyway. So it'd be interesting to see MotoGP. MotoGP kicking off much, much later this year. It's not till really well into March. They're doing a fair bit of testing in Qatar as well. But, the first race in Qatar is not till we're deep into March. So, that'll be interesting to see how they go.
Taking a quick step back, the first round for F1 is not in Bahrain until the 28th of March.
Yeah, that's right. That's starting much later as well. Yep.
Yeah. And I think Australia is to be announced later in the year.
Yeah. Yep. So that'll be. We're all looking forward to these. I mean, you really know. I mean, when we're right in the middle of the season, we've got so much content to talk about and the races to talk about during the summer periods. I mean, we struggle, but we there's gaps we've got to fill. In saying that, we've done a good job and we've filled the time tonight anyway, Todd. And yourself, Todd, and myself, we've been able to, with Ross Tapper and David Smith. Without them, we couldn't have done it. All right, Todd. Well, look, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it.
No worries.
Just give us a quick brief on what you're up to, what's happening.
Again, just Evo things.
Yep.
Finally get some work done on it. Bit the bullet the other day and ordered not a new set of brakes entirely, but rotors and pads that I nearly had a heart attack when the final bill came through.
All right.
And just aiming for Albany, but also this year, I don't know how many events I'll actually do. I do have a good friend of mine who said, time pending, a lot more seat time. So probably going out to the driver training centre a bit and just cutting laps in that car and just learning what it does, which I'm happy to do, especially with the person that's offered the instruction is a former winner of multiple events in Targa.
Yep.
And be good.
Yep.
So, and that's about it. Just building a few things. Speaking on Simon's behalf, he's not here to say, but Simon and I have 2 or 3 things brewing in the background. And then, of course, Simon being Simon has another 4 that we don't even know about brewing in the background until you walk into the shop and you go, hey, where did that come from? Oh, that brought up the other day. So, yeah.
I must admit, I went into his shop today and it's actually looked really neat, actually. He's really tidied it up over the Christmas period.
With my mask on doing IT support. And, his Falcon's gone home.
Yeah. How awesome is that?
Yeah. More to come on this. I've pestered him and said we need to get some videos of that and just generally do something with it because if you don't realise that car is something else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an awesome bit of kit.
Yeah.
It's an awesome bit of kit. All right, Todd. Well, thanks for joining us on the podcast. We'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks' time anyway. Take care.
Yeah. No worries.
See ya.
See ya.
Talk and Power, your motorsport and motoring radio show. Now on 88.5 FM. The Valley Comes Alive. And podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.